Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our latest Sizewell C Supply Chain Business Support Program webinar. Today's subject is CompeteFor, reflecting on last Tuesday's webinar where we also did one on CompeteFor, but adding a little bit extra today as we're looking to maximise the opportunity of utilising CompeteFor when bidding for contracts. Very much focus on those businesses most affected and most likely to utilise CompeteFor as a platform. I will run the slides through. So firstly, to introduce myself, my name's Shorey-Mills. I'm the Sizewell C Supply Chain Engagement Director here at the Suffolk Chamber of Commerce. And I know many of you today who are on will be registered to our portal and be aware of the work our team is doing. Today, we have an agenda, as you can see on the screen, that includes myself giving a brief overview on some of the bits to do with the project before handing over to some live website demonstrations, which will include from our colleague Fabian at Sizewell C, back to myself. And then we also have the addition of Andrew Williams from the Sizewell C team, who's focused on the commercial side to talk about some of the processes which they undertake as part of the procurement for Sizewell. As always, we will do a Q&A at the end. Little notes, of course, we've got the buttons at the bottom of the screen. Please do put your questions in the Q&A box. We encourage questions on anything, obviously, particularly today's subject. But if you've got any questions regarding Sizewell whatsoever, please, as always, chuck them in the Q&A box and we will do them at the end. And of course, also, utilize the chat function. Chat function is there. Introduce yourself. Let us know if you've been working on the site and any comments, etc. We'd love to hear from you. As always, we are recording these webinars. These webinars, as well as all of our business support program webinars, are featured on our website and there for you to watch back at later date. If you've missed any, you can go back and see some of the content we've previously done around contracting, around onboarding and social value and others. We will also be sending out the slides and a link to the recording after the event. So you'll have all the information you've got today readily available to you should you need to pass that information on. So just a couple of quick slides from me first and foremost. So Sizewell C as a project has some key strategic aims, and you'll see them on the screen there, kind of, especially with the government focus on financing and ownership of this project, that Sizewell C is vital with regards to ensuring that we have a solution or part of the solution to the energy crisis, which is there. Particularly on this slide, I want to focus on the bottom three because there are, as it says there, the three contractual appendices will exist to engage the supply chain with the ESG requirements and the goals of the Sizewell C project. So very much around where they're going to look to commit to the supply chain that reflects those strategic aims that the project has. Now, you'll see some of these are very similar to wording that we've used, and I'll show you in a second. It's just to show how aligned the project is to ensure that it is supporting its local businesses and the supply chain, as well as the wider commitments that it has. And you'll see that it does include focus on the environment and sustainability, that there has to be a focus around social value, and particularly on the supply chain, but also around the people, both the people that are required now on the project and the people that are importantly going to be required in the future for construction and also operation and even decommissioning of projects like Sizewell C. And social value, which is that thing that we talk so much about, the five key kind of pillars, milestones that the project has are nice and clear. We've spoke about them an awful lot. We've done webinars now on every single one of these subjects and some multiple where we've dived into individual parts. We always like to focus on the first one, which is about the supply chain and the project's commitment to 70% of Sizewell C being UK-based businesses, minimum 70%. And you'll see on there that prioritising of local, then regional, then national. So looking, as long as the local businesses can deliver the project to the right level, within budget and safely, that they will get that opportunity. And that is that priority. If they can't do it local, they'll look across the region. And if they cannot do it regionally, they will look across the nation. That's very, very important for us. It's why we're doing our role, and it's critical. What's also important, though, across those five areas is that actually as local and regional businesses, you are that solution to those tier one contractors. So many, many businesses will win contracts on this project and will have to evidence various aspects of what you see on the screen now. And of course, local and regional businesses are already doing this. They're already the ones investing and doing outreach in the schools and colleges and community groups. Naturally, by using local businesses, you're adding less impact on the environment because your workers have got to travel less to get to site. You're probably already based very close. We're also very good at in promoting innovation in this region. So all of these types of things, that's where local and regional businesses really do come into their own in supporting those tier one contractors, the project itself and the alliances. And just as a reminder on our key themes, and this is why we like to show this now, because it reflects perfectly into what the project is doing. You know, we are there to represent all 6 counties in the east. Yes, we're Suffolk Chamber of Commerce, but we don't mind. We are there working with the other chambers of commerce, other business organisations, and any business possible to make sure that if there is an opportunity where a business in the region can contribute to Sizewell C, that we will help support you to do that. And we have our focal points. You know, we want to ensure that local businesses and local people play a key role on Sizewell C, and how we help foster that collaboration of businesses, both local businesses working together, but importantly, local businesses working with the national tier one contractors to help make this project as big a success as we possibly can. There has to be a legacy from Sizewell for all the various reasons, but particularly from us as a chamber to ensure that we help sustainable and proportionate growth. What we don't want to see is businesses failing off the back of Sizewell where possible. So therefore, it's about helping you understand how you work on this project in the best and most effective way for you without you taking on too much and without the dangers and some of the experiences that were felt in Somerset of local businesses ending up sadly falling foul of large-scale projects like Sizewell. And when we say large, we mean mega projects. And of course, the environment, you know, as I mentioned, Sizewell C is critical to the government's aim of 2050 net zero. We know the new government has the focus on GB energy, with GB nuclear a key part of it. So how can we support that? How can we help businesses in that transition to a more carbon-free, less carbon-intensive workplace, particularly around equipment you're using, processes, and ways of operating? And then that commitment that is there, 4.4 billion to the east, aligned with the 2.5 billion in the north and the 900 million in Wales. You know, these are not done in isolation. These are done with thought in mind and collaboration between those regions. But that 4.5 billion to come to this region is not something to be sniffed at. It is evidently, from the figures down in the southwest on Hinckley, more than achievable. And we want to see that. We want to see the opportunity for the East maximised, and as many local and regional businesses working on the site as possible. We already know there are a lot of local companies working on site, and we're hopefully soon going to be producing some information and some stats on the amount already spent, because it's really quite impressive, which is fantastic. But we want to see that grow over time and continue to really evolve. Of course, just as a reminder, how we help you. You know, we do these webinars, we do these support events in various different ways, and they're really there to help you as a local and regional business understand what this project means, and importantly, now it's happening, how you fit in, who you need to be speaking to, what you need to be doing, and how we can help you make the most of this opportunity. And that will be increasingly through introductions and recommendations to the alliance and the client and the main tier ones. There's going to be some more events soon with some of the tier ones on site. We're working with 1 or 2 at the moment, so keep an eye out on emails for that. And increasingly more and more roundtable and small scale events, very much focused on specific sectors. We've got one tomorrow, for example, to do with radios and communication technology. So very much around making sure that we understand what you do so that we can help get you talking to the right people. But also we're now starting the work around what's expected of you as a business. So should you get the chance to work on the project, that's wonderful. But actually, what do you need to do to be able to work on that project? What standards do you need? What things can you be doing in your business now? And we'll be hosting future webinars on those subjects, and also some in-person workshops. And then lots of other bits and pieces. We talk a lot about funding and training through these webinars. We're here to kind of shine a light on these things, but then also we can help you understand where that funding is available to support your business if you need it, where the right training, where the right consultancies or businesses to come in and support you can be found. And of course, running our portals, helping understand social value and what ESG means and why to take advantage of it. Final slide then is just really to remind everyone, as I said earlier, this is not a Chamber of Commerce thing. We happen to be that one that has that direct relationship, partnering with Sizewell C to deliver the local and regional supply chain engagement. But this spreads across absolutely everyone, and we're always keen to talk to new businesses, to new organizations, to new sector councils, whatever it may be. So it is important, you know, we need to hear from as many voices as possible coming into us so we can feed into Sizewell, and it goes back the other way. Sizewell feed a lot of information to us that we then need to share. So please, as always, make sure you're engaging with myself and the rest of the team. We're always happy to hear from people, and we want to make sure that we spread this as far and wide as possible. So what I will do at this point is invite Fabian to come on, who will now talk through some of the bits on the CompeteFor website, and I will stop sharing, Fabian, and let you take over from there.
Thanks, Ashley. I will share my screen now. Can you see that okay?
All good.
Perfect. So good morning, everyone. I'm Fabien Le Cardinal, so I'm Senior Supply Chain Manager looking after data, system, and reporting for the supply chain for Sizewell C. In the next 20 minutes, half an hour, I will show you first our portal and all the different functions and where to find all the details you need, how to create opportunities, how to look for opportunities, and also look for specific supplier, for example, or the latest opportunity from Sizewell C. So first, how to access our portal. You just need to go on Google and you provide the name CompeteFor on Google, and this is the first link. You arrive on CompeteFor portal, which is actually the BIP solution portal. And you will see we are right at the front on the main page here. So if you click on Sizewell C, you will arrive directly on our Sizewell C microsite. This is visible by absolutely everyone. It's on internet, so anyone can access that page. Anyone can see all the details and scroll all the different tabs here. So you don't need a specific access. It's totally free, and you can access absolutely everything. The first thing I will talk to you about is the registration. If you are not registered yet, you will need to register, because if you're not registered, you won't be able to see any of the opportunities. Any of the opportunities for Sizewell or any other business that are publishing opportunities on CompeteFor. You probably didn't see on the first page, but we are not the only one. HS2, all the main biggest infrastructure in the UK will be using CompeteFor. So Heathrow Airport, HS2, and Sizewell are on there. If you want to see an opportunity, you will need to register. So you can see the top here at the top, the button register. So if you click on register, if you are not registered yet, you will have to go through the full registration to register your business. So it's very simple, it's straightforward information. You will need to create an email address. I will advise to have a generic email address, because if you direct the email address to one person and that person leaves the business, you will lose the accessibility of the profile on CompeteFor, or you will have to contact BIP to redirect to a new email address. So I will advise to create an email address that is neutral in general. So for example, for us, we've got supply chain at sizewellc.com, and we use that email address to do our registration. You create your password and you provide all the information about your business. So name of your organization. So it will ask you all the very standard information about how many employees, the DUNS number, the turnover, sorry, all the different things you can think about, and very simple about business registration. But the most important is you will have to register your business with the specific categories. So for example, if you are, I will take a different example this week. If you are a business that can do roads, roundabout, tarmac, all this kind of thing, you will have to provide all the categories that are linked to your activity. So you will have to select all the relevant categories. So roads, roundabout, all linked to tarmacking, all this kind of thing, and it will create your business profile with all these categories. So if Sizewell C posts an opportunity about roads or creating a roundabout or something like that, you will receive directly a notification. If you don't provide any categories when you register your business, you will receive absolutely everything that is posted on CompeteFor. So you will receive hundreds and hundreds of opportunity every day. So I will advise you to clearly define the categories you are working on and make sure you select them correctly to be able to receive specific and directly opportunity to you. So when you've done that, you will be fully, when you provide all the information about your business, you click at the bottom that you sign up. As I said, it's totally free. It will probably take an hour or two because it will be checked by BIP admin. And an hour or two later, you will be registered on CompeteFor. When you are registered, you will be able to access that page again, but you will be able to log in here at the top. So I will use my login. There we go. So I am registered on CompeteFor, obviously, as Sizewell C. So I created the Sizewell C business profile. So when you log in, I arrive on the Sizewell C business profile. So as you can see what is about your organization. So if I click here, I will see everything about the Sizewell C business profile. So I can go there and update anytime. I can change location if the business office change, and all the detail. I can also add user to my business profile. So I can add as many as user as I want, and they will have all the same access as me. So they will be able to post an opportunity on the behalf of Sizewell C or view exactly the same thing as me. If I go back to Activity Center, so the first thing I can show you when you are registered is you can actually use your page here to look for specific opportunities or for a specific supplier. For example, if you're looking for a supplier, or if you're looking for an opportunity, you can use the tab here on the left-hand side. So if I want to look for a specific opportunity, I just click on Opportunity Search. And if you are looking for a very specific opportunity, you heard about it or you saw it, I don't know, on social media or someone's page, and you are looking for that specific opportunity, you know it's open, you go there and you just write down the keyword and you search for it, and it will take you directly to the opportunity. That's the way to do it. I will show you other way to do it, but if you are aware of the opportunity and the name of it, you just go here and search for it. If you don't know the name of the opportunity, but you know that who is working on it, and you want to contact that supplier, you can also do a supplier activity, a supplier search. So if you go on supplier search, I just need to find it. Where is it? I can't see it. It is somewhere. Supplier search. Here we go. If you go on supplier search, you know the supplier, you want to contact the supplier, or you want to know the details of that supplier, you can use the postcode if you know the postcode, or if you know the name of the organization, you just write down the name of the organization and you do a search. If you don't know any of that, but you know it's, for example, you are looking for a concrete supplier, you just go on the business categories here, and you are looking for someone that can provide concrete. You write down concrete, and you are interested to see all the business on CompeteFor that can provide concrete and ready-mix concrete, for example. You add them. So you see, you look for everyone doing concrete on CompeteFor, and you want someone in specific region, for example. I'm not going to click on any specific region, but you are looking for someone, I don't know, East Midland or near Suffolk, for example. If we take the example of today, and you click on it, and it will provide you a list of all the suppliers that are registered on CompeteFor with the category concrete and ready-mix concrete. So you can see there is quite a lot, but you will be able to see all the details about the organization, the website, the location, and the phone number. So you will be able to contact them and speak to them if you want to reach to them, if they have already been awarded an opportunity, or if they are looking for someone to take on an opportunity. So that's the way to look for opportunities. That's the way to look for a supplier. If I go back to CompeteFor portal, so if I go back to our microsite, there is other way to look for opportunities. So assuming you registered, you will receive a notification. So if Sizewell C posts an opportunity on the microsite and it's within your categories, you will receive a notification saying Sizewell C is live on this opportunity. Would you like to be part of it? So you will click on the email and arrive directly to the opportunity. If you haven't defined correctly your categories, or you are still interested to see everything happening on Sizewell C, you just go on our microsite, and you will see on the right-hand side, you will see all the latest 10 opportunities that are currently open for Sizewell. Actually, only one is still open for now. Only this one. This one closed early last week. But if you are interested to see the latest, you go here at the top, right, and you can see which one are still open. You click on it if you're interested. When you click on it, it will give you the full details of the opportunity, what this is all about, and what the buyer is looking for, which category this is under, and also you will see all the timeline for that opportunity. So when is it closing on CompeteFor? So for you to, if you want to answer that opportunity and show any interest, you will have to answer before the 24th of September at 5 p.m. And you will see all the different timeline of that opportunity. So the tender close, when we are looking toward that contract, when it's about to start, and when it was posted on CompeteFor. So if you are interested if you are a supplier that you think, oh yes, I'm capable of that, I can do that, I just open that opportunity and I click on it and I start to respond to it. So you just go through all the different questions. I will stop here. I won't answer the opportunity for Sizewell on a Sizewell opportunity, but you see how to do now. It's very simple, and you start answering all the questions. At that point, Sizewell C will not ask you any evidence to the question we will be asking. We will be just asking you question with a yes or no answer, or a multiple choice answer that we will provide you the answer for obviously. We are not asking any evidence, because at that stage it's just an expression of interest and see if you have the capability to do it, but it's not a tendering portal. It's just an expression of interest. So we'll be asking you a question: if your business is selected, will you be able to provide this information, or are you capable of providing this information? So you just say yes, and you will be answering the question that way. On the last step of answering question or answering the opportunity here, you will be able to provide a statement. This is the only step you will be able to write something. So that's the opportunity for you to describe your business and why you think you are capable of answering this opportunity. So I think you've got 2,000 characters to try to explain as best as you can how best you are and fit for this opportunity. At that stage, you don't have any name or link to a buyer, or you don't have any information about who is posting that opportunity. You just have a series of questions to answer and a statement about your business to answer. So that's the way to look for opportunities directly on CompeteFor on the microsite. You can also go here on opportunity and actually look. We did split we split our opportunity in different way for the civil works program, the MEH, and what we call others. That as it's other. So all the framework and all that stuff will go on the other. So you can also click on here and see what are the latest on the civil side. But the best way to do it is still to go on the home page and look for the latest 10. Other way to be involved. So if you miss the opportunity, but you believe that you can still provide some help to that opportunity, you know the tier 1 that has been awarded, or you don't know the tier 1 that has been awarded, you can go here on the information awardee, and we've got a map with all the opportunities that have been awarded, and you can actually go on the different flags and see. For example, on this one, has been awarded on May 2023. That was the title of the opportunity, and you know that this opportunity has been awarded to that supplier. So if you want to get involved, you believe you can provide some help to this supplier, you can find them on CompeteFor and actually try to get some work on the back of that opportunity. That's a way to use that map and see who has been awarded and how you can get involved to get some work. The other way to look for opportunity and give you a bit of view on what's happening on Sizewell. On the main page, we've got a procurement overview here at the bottom. So if you click on the procurement overview, it will give you of all the opportunities that are coming and that are not yet on the portal, but will be at some point. So it's giving you all the details. Of course, it's a snapshot that this one was done in July 24, as every procurement can be delayed, or it can change, or package can be split. So that's the information that we had in July. It will be refreshed in September. But it gives you a bit of a view of what's happening on Sizewell and when we are expecting to award this contract. You can see the name of the package, the title of the package, when we are expecting to post it on when we are going to award it, and what is the value of the expected value of the contract. As you can see, the range are enormous, but it gives you an idea of what type of package we are looking at. And this is a way for you to get involved, so you know by Q3 24 or we go to Q1 25, you can get ready basically and see, okay, I can be involved on that one, so I will be looking for that one to come up. So you know that something like that, for example, this one it's coming at some point, and you want to get involved, so you will be starting tracking this one, or get involved with the team and try to get some insight on this one. So that's the best way to do it, to look for future procurement. If I go back here, we also provide that awardee tab here that should match to the map I showed you earlier. So you will see all the details of what has been already awarded by Sizewell. So we go back to 2015, sorry. So mostly all the framework contracts, project services. But we start to see more and more contract award now, with all the civils coming and all that stuff coming. So you will see all the details. So if you want to be involved and you believe you can play a part as a tier 2, tier 3, tier 4, you can reach to the tier 1 here on the right hand side, because we provide the name of who has been awarded, and you can start asking some question and get involved. Ideally, this information here should match at some point with the awardee map we've got here. So awardee map is also refreshed every quarter. So we are due to refresh that map in September. I believe it will be done very soon on the portal. So you will be able to see that shortly. So that's the way to look for future procurement, and if it's already awarded, you can actually contact the supplier. If I show you something else on your business profile, so I go back to your business profile, you won an opportunity, for example, and that opportunity this opportunity is too big for you, and you believe you want to subcontract this opportunity, you need some help from other vendor, you can actually go on CompeteFor and post an opportunity yourself. So you just on the left hand side, sorry. Let me close all of the different tabs. So back to your business profile here at the top, all the users I showed you, your organization. I show you how to look for an opportunity, show you to look for a supplier. And now by your activity, you can actually post an opportunity. So you go to Opportunity Manager, and you can actually here, as a supplier registered, you can add an opportunity here, and you can start publishing an opportunity, contract opportunity, and you can start publishing an opportunity under your business profile. So you provide the name of the opportunity you want to publish. Obviously, it will be your organization, not Sizewell. We will be able to link that opportunity to Sizewell C. So you will be in touch with us at that point. You can provide all the details about the information, about the opportunity, sorry, what you want to post as an opportunity, which scope of work you want to post. And you provide all that details. It's very straightforward. It's how you will do the selection, how information about the supplier you're looking for. You can upload any documentation. You will have to provide the categories as well, as I explained to you earlier. You will have to provide all the deadlines as well when you are looking to award that opportunity, and when you are expected to start the contract award. So you can post that as well. There is some standard questions, some customized questions. So standard questions are already developed within CompeteFor. So you will have to select which question you want to ask from the standard question. So you can tick all of them or untick all of them. So you can decide what question you want to add. So this is very standard question, very sample questions that are built within the system already. You can decide to not tick them if you don't want to ask them. But the good thing is you can ask some customized question here. So if you want to ask some very specific question about that opportunity and you are very attached to a specific question, you can ask here. So for example, if you're looking for a supplier that need to be absolutely located in Ipswich, for example, you can create a question and say, are you located in this area? Yes or no? And it will become an essential question for you. If the supplier that want to respond to that opportunity and say no already, it will discount them from the opportunity. You will have to define your scoring. You can define which supplier statement you are looking for, and you publish it, and it will be available under your business profile on the portal, and they will be able to answer your opportunity that way. Exactly the same way as we do it as Sizewell C. When we post an opportunity, we go exactly through the same process, and we post it on our microsite. So this is the way how to create an opportunity. We can share some video, some training material, some guide to post an opportunity. So it's available, and we can share that at any time. So I believe, Ashley, I've been around everything that needed to be covered. Yes, I think that's everything.
Fantastic. All right, thank you, Fabian. So I'll pick up on a few bits on CompeteFor from here. So if you can unshare your screen, Fabian, for me. And then there we go. Share. My one is oh, sorry. Just want to share the slides. Seamless. And then there we go. Right. So Fabian has obviously very kindly gone through the important bit of CompeteFor, obviously where the opportunities are, how to find them, how to post them, how to host them. And BIP Solutions, who are the company that run it, are on hand to help, as are ourselves in our team as much as we can. And of course, as Fabian said towards the end there, Sizewell C themselves, particularly the procurement teams that will load the opportunities, they will also support you through that process. A few kind of best practices before I touch on some of the other bits that I think is vitally important, because obviously we've now had CompeteFor used for nearly 2 years. It was October 2022 when the first opportunity was hosted on CompeteFor. And at the moment, obviously, it's still only a few opportunities, and that will grow quite rapidly over the coming months and years, obviously. But what's quite important is, yes, you need to set up your profile correctly, get your email profiles in so that you get the notifications. But it is very, very important to make sure you're proactively visiting CompeteFor. Could be a couple times a week. I visit it every single day. You know, we get notified by the project when opportunities are happening. Of course we do, but actually it's still just best practice to keep an eye, have a little look, because sometimes there could be opportunities that are relevant to your business or that you want to be aware of that maybe you haven't quite set up your email profiles in the right way. So we do encourage, make sure you proactively visit Sizewell. Also, you know, opportunities will appear on the front page, but it is always worth, as Fabian was showing you, where you can search for opportunities, to make sure you just search for the word Sizewell, search for the cut down version SZC. Have a little look, see what other opportunities are beginning to be posted. Because in the future, as Fabian explained there, you're going to have the client posting opportunities, you're going to have the alliance posting opportunities, you're also going to have you as potentially tier ones posting opportunities on CompeteFor. Now, that's going to be a lot of people doing it. You know, mistakes will be made from time to time, but also it's just making sure that you're not missing. C, as always, we say as a chamber, we're kind of your safety blanket. We're there to try and make sure you're aware of where these opportunities are, but this shouldn't ever stop you making sure you're proactively looking into these things. Updating your profile and keeping that as relevant as possible is really, really important. Making sure, for example, we talked about it on the last webinar. A handy little tip is that when you set yourself up on CompeteFor, that you have a more generic sort of central email address, so that when the opportunity and the information are coming through, it's not just relied upon by one person to pick up that email, because invariably opportunities on Sizewell will give you maybe 7 to 10 days to be able to respond. Well, of course, if that happens to be when someone's on 2 weeks annual leave and it's that person that sets up, that causes you a problem as a business. So it's very, very important to set up some generic email, and then you can have up to 4 additional people able to access, and you can set that up yourself in your profile. Sorry, up to 6, sorry, not 4, up to 6. Also, another silly little example, but make sure you answer the questions. When you're expressing your interest on CompeteFor, and this is the same message for the whole procurement process, if a question is being asked of you, make sure you answer it. We've seen so many responses come back from Sizewell letting us know about businesses that have registered interest where they're not even answering every question. And it is so important, if the question is answered, that you can make sure you are helping yourself to go to the next stage by answering those questions. I'd also suggest have a practice. As Fabian showed, there are some live examples at the moment. I wouldn't necessarily suggest, hit submit all of you to the 11 kilovolt infrastructure design, build and supply opportunity. But there is absolutely no harm in you as a business logging on, entering some information, and having a little practice, just getting used to what type of questions am I going to be asked. Because at this stage, and we will touch on this in a bit more detail later in the webinar, but at this stage, that's all it is very light touch. So practicing and just getting used to the information that's going to be asked of you means you can have that ready to go, so that when that opportunity comes, and it is important you respond promptly to these opportunities, you're ready to go. Because again, what we have found is that companies will leave it until the 9th day of 10, and then they can't get access, or their Microsoft Authenticator app isn't working, or there's a problem with their email, whatever it is. It's much better to do that as soon as the opportunity goes live. We will tend to let you know on the day, or if not the day before an opportunity is going live. Plus, you'll get the email from CompeteFor as soon as something has gone live. Plus, hopefully, you're proactively checking. So most businesses have at least a week to be of knowledge of being able to respond to these. And it is vitally important to act on them as quickly as you can. In addition, then, as a website, there is some redevelopment happening in the background at the moment. So within the next few weeks, the physical look of this website will change slightly, only small changes, but mainly around the amount of information that's on there, as we try to ensure that there is as much information on our portal as there is on CompeteFor around the support. So it's worth having a little look, if you haven't already, at areas like the project news, just giving you little bits of updates to do with what the project is. Some of the videos to do with some of the support that we're offering and also the project is offering, and in particular things like the Hinkley progress. And we say to lots of businesses, if you're wanting to play a big part on Sizewell, then actually look no further than all of the videos and information that Hinkley Point C has. And you can click and it will take you through to information about the website for Hinkley and all of their videos and support. Because it is a sister project. It is Sizewell is seen, if you like, as reactors 3 and 4, with Hinkley being reactors 1 and 2. So that replication model really is a good insight as to what's expected. There is, of course, then our events calendar. So our webinars, for example, like this, and our in-person events and our roundtable events, these will all appear on here as well as our website. Plus, you will over time find other businesses that are set at tier 1 contractors, etc., will host their events through here as well. So it's always important. Give it a look. Have a look at the events which are taking place. Now, the important other part is the about section. Now, the reason we talk about this, and I'll touch first on the help section for CompeteFor. There is an awful lot on the FAQ. There is an awful lot of support. We're always happy to answer questions, as our BIP, but I do recommend, as a business that is likely to utilize CompeteFor, spend a couple of hours looking at the FAQ section, because there is so much advice and guidance as Fabian said earlier, this portal is not just for Sizewell, it's for Heathrow, it's for HS2, it's been the Olympics, it's countless other nationally significant projects. So it helps you understand so much about your profile, how to make the most of your profile, how to make the most of the opportunities you're responding to or hosting. And it will give you hints and tips and tricks for just making sure you're in the right place and doing the right thing. So it is very much worthwhile having a look, and I'll quickly flick through. You don't need to read this. But there are, even as you see here, top tips for suppliers, things to help you make sure that you are representing your business in the best way possible. And as you can see from how much I'm having to scroll, there is loads of information. Of course, not all of it is relevant. Some is only relevant to the likes of Sizewell for the opportunities they're hosting, but it does give you that background understanding of what to expect when it comes to utilising CompeteFor. We'll go back to this page. You've then also got plenty of information about Sizewell C, some of their focus of what they're trying to deliver, some of the support and links to their networks, particularly that focuses on social value and the community work that they're doing, which again, as a business, can support you in understanding some of the terminology you need to use when you're submitting your bids, but also because you might be a business that can get involved. You might be an organization that can help deliver a more diverse workforce and therefore, get involved direct with the client, with the alliance and so on. And of course, then links to various bits of training, support, video guides. And these are some of the areas which are about to elaborate upon and expand upon. So you'll see much more content in these areas in the coming weeks, and we'll obviously advise when that happens. So that's CompeteFor. I just want to also just remind everyone and touch on the supply chain engagement portal that the Chamber of Commerce has been running for a number of years. To reinforce the message that Fabian said earlier, you must be registered on CompeteFor. Our portal that has been running for years is there for engagement. It is there to support our work that we're doing in helping understand what the local supply chain capacity and capability is, what businesses can contribute to Sizewell, and helping Sizewell kind of understand that the demographic that we're working with. It supports us in looking at where the inward investment opportunities are and where the shortages are and where the support needs to be. So everything to do with kind of in advance of the procurement cycle beginning is where we utilize our portal. But there'll never be any contracts awarded through our portal. It is vital that you look to get yourselves registered on CompeteFor if you are not already. But on our portal, just as a kind of run through, as a reminder, because again, we get lots of businesses sign up, but then don't visit the website for actually the information that's on there. So you will see that we have our About section, which includes obviously a little brief introduction into the team and our email addresses and contacting us, videos and so on. Please do, have a little look, but also some important information about both Sizewell and Hinckley. Lots of information and videos about what's happening, latest news, etc., etc. Like I say, including links to some of the Hinckley videos. We, of course, also then have our news. Now, we will host, obviously, the relevant news, but important on this section is the case studies. We are now, as I said earlier, starting to see more and more businesses winning work. Fantastic. We are about to embark on a lot of case studies, a lot of them video interviews with businesses who are local and regional to showcase the work that they are doing on site, but also the support that's been given by the project, by the tier one contractor and by ourselves to really help businesses see how they fit into a project like Sizewell. So, of course, the call to arms on this is if you're a business that is either started working on the project or has maybe through our suite of webinars already made some changes to your business around your net zero strategy, around how you employ young people, whatever it is, whatever the subject matter we've done, if our work has had an impact in a positive way, then please do reach out to us. We'd love to hear from you. We're always looking for more case studies, and our team is always working on lots of different new ones so that we can start to host more and more success stories on our website, in the local press, and with Sizewell. So please do reach out to us, and you'll see lots of videos in the coming weeks on this area. We, of course, have our support. So all of our business support program webinars like you're on today are all hosted on our website at all times, and they'll all soon be hosted on CompeteFor as well. So you can go back and view any of these. So you'll see, for example, the bid writing one from last week is already on there. And by later this week, last Tuesday's CompeteFor webinar and this Tuesday's CompeteFor webinar will both be hosted on the website. But you'll see some of our previous ones to do with skills, to do with onboarding, the accommodation management system, and so on. They're all there for you to watch over, to go back and see. And in particular, for many, they'll be relevant when it gets to the point of you being awarded a contract, or when you're getting ready to bid for a contract, or maybe when you're on site, helping you understand things that you can be doing. There's also, under then the support banner, all the other bits and pieces we can do. So there's links to various funding and resource sites, various training regimes that are available. But as always, what we say is reach out to us. If you as a business know to work on Sizewell, you need to tick a certain box to get a certain accreditation, let us know. And we can help support. Is there a fund that's available? Is there something that can support you? Is there a local training initiative that could be of benefit to you? But of course, also then we get to understand what we can't deliver locally, what funds we haven't got, or what training we can't deliver. And we're again then using that information to influence the county council and the district councils, as well as some of the training providers, to help identify where the best source of training needs to become. There's, again, our events program showcasing all the events that we have, both generic invite to anyone can come to, but increasingly a number of roundtable and the smaller, more niche events to do with a package of works. And of course, we also have our FAQ section as well. Now, our FAQ section is very much driven out of all the experience from Hinckley, the experience of the Somerset Chamber in delivering what they were delivering, in other stakeholders such as the LEP down there, but also Hinckley themselves. So again, there's lots and lots of questions and answers to those questions for experiences of local and regional suppliers, for things that you might need to understand and know. So please, if you do need to, have a little look. We're always there to help, but there's often information on the page that can help you. And then just as a little touch on the actual registration itself, once you have registered, a lot of you will be aware that we always ask you to make sure you update your details, and that is vitally important. The way in which we use your data on the portal, and I'll give an example, for example, to do with the 11 kilovolt opportunity that went on live last week that we showed earlier, I know Fabian showed. In advance of it going on to CompeteFor, the project in this example, because it's a Sizewell team that are procuring that service, will come to us and help, and we will help them understand what's the local ability to deliver that package of works. So we'll be talking to them about the scope of what they're going to deliver, the type of skills that they need, the type of size of business that they need to be dealing with, because obviously that's relevant to the size of the contract. And we will then utilize our portal data to help them understand. Now, the reason we do that is because that helps influence, okay, when it comes to social value, when it comes to the local commitments and the scoring around quality, what is reasonable to expect? And for any of you that are listening today that didn't do last Thursday's webinar on bid writing, that's well worth going in and listening to, because it talks a little bit about the way the scoring works, because we had the Civil Works Alliance there, as well as people from Sizewell C just discussing that. But we're there then to utilize the information and then get that into the project so that they're best placed to understand, is it reasonable that local can deliver this package of works? Or if not, deliver the main contract. Importantly then, how the local and regional businesses fit in at tier 2 and below level, which is obviously where most of us will slide in. We can only do that if we have accurate information. So hence, revisiting your portal entry, making sure things like the contact details, the description and so on are accurate is so important to us, so that we can best represent you, both direct intros into the project, inviting to events, inviting to webinars and support methods, and all manner of other areas. Even down to the information which you give us on the portal, we then use that to help facilitate the support that we're going to offer. So we always use the same silly example, so I'll use it for the purpose of this. If we get told by the project you have to have ISO 9001, that's a standard that's non-negotiable, then we can just go onto our portal and go, right, who's got it, who hasn't? Those who haven't, let's let them know and let's support them through that. That's not a standard, by the way, that you have to have, just using that as an example. So we will make sure that you have got the right information if you can give us the right information. And if I just show you, for example, our chamber one, the description is important. We need to understand detail behind what you do as a business, because we don't just go by a single word. We will always investigate a portal entry as much as we can. But it is your place to sell yourself. And this information is passed into the tier ones, is passed into the project so that they can best understand your business. But also so are the keywords. You'll be amazed how many people put loads in the description, but then just put a single keyword, construction, for example. If we're asked a question about a certain specialism, then we need to be able to find you. So actually maximizing those opportunities on keywords and descriptions, you've got plenty of characters to play with, really, really helps us to best represent you as a business. And then you will have seen, maybe you haven't, but we've added a load more questions recently. And it is vitally important that you answer these questions, because we've added them during 2024 and a little bit through the end of 2023 as well, based on what you're going to be expected to answer through the CompeteFor and the future procurement process. So this information is going to be needed later. So the earlier we know it, the more we can support you. So again, it comes back to what I said earlier. If you ask questions, make sure you answer them. So please, if you haven't revisited your portal in some time, get back on there, have a little look at the questions that are answered and attempt to answer them to ensure that we can make sure that you're aware what's coming and we can best offer. Company contacts always helps us, but also importantly, case studies. The reason we ask for case studies, you'll be asked them through the procurement process anyway, but they again help us show the capabilities that local businesses have. There will be some assumptions made around the right businesses to run certain packages of work, but where we have case studies that then show local and regional businesses having worked on other nationally significant infrastructure projects, other large-scale energy projects, especially this area, we do a lot in the energy sector, in the North Sea, oil, gas, wind, etc. We're able to show that in highly regulated environments, we have lots of businesses that have the skill sets relevant to Sizewell. Case studies are a great way to do that. And again, when we see case studies uploaded, sometimes we may then leverage them and use them and promote them on your behalf as well. So really, really important to get your portal entry as maximized as you possibly can and keep it accurate and up to date. And our team, Hayley's recently come into our team to look after this alongside Ian, who I know many of you will no doubt have been engaged with plenty of times. They're there to support you and answer questions regarding the portals if you need them. So I will go back to the home page. And I think at that point, that covers off all the bits I wanted to do on the portals. So I will stop sharing that. And I will, if you bear with me, just go back to the slides. There we go. And at this point, I'll invite Andrew Williams from the Sizewell C commercial team just to switch his camera and mic on. Thank you, Andrew. And he will just do a brief overview of the procurement process for Sizewell C. So thank you, Andrew.
Well, good morning, everyone. Andrew Williams. I'm new to Sizewell. Been in public procurement most of my career, a couple of years at Sellafield and Network Rail. So hopefully I've got the right terminology, etc. So apologies if I haven't. So Sizewell C procurement process is really 4 stages: market engagement, pre-qual, tendering, contract award. At a high level, market engagement is about Sizewell as the client, giving everyone an overview of the Sizewell project, the actual opportunity itself. But very much it should be a two-way event, whereby if the supply chain has ideas as to how the procurement could be done and the contract more effectively, it's a good opportunity for that to be said and that to be discussed, because you can't discuss those issues in a tender process, or it's a lot harder to. So that's what the purpose really for me of market engagement. Pre-qualification then is for Sizewell to define what the requirement is, and should be seen as backward looking, that Sizewell is looking for examples of similar work having been done by the supplier in the past. And then there'll be a down selection, and then both suppliers who've demonstrated capacity and capability are issued the tender. The tender really should be looking forward. There's the scope, there's the terms and conditions, for the supplier to define how they'll deliver the work themselves. There might be checks made against the pre-qualification process before contract award, but the ITT should be looking forward about delivery. And then there's the contract award stage. So specifically, market engagement as the expression of interest going out via CompeteFor, and that really is to make sure that if a supplier was successful, that they've got they're of the right size and would agree to Sizewell's regulated processes to be able to do the work. And there'll be a document issued for that. And normally it's up to about 10 days to respond from the date of posting. And as Ashley mentioned earlier, something will be going out through Suffolk Chambers to identify that opportunity through LinkedIn, etc. So CompeteFor is a tool run by BIP Solutions, and really it might be a little bit, so I'll be honest, painful going through that registration. But once you're on the system, you're on the system, and you might see opportunities being registered by other clients which you want to bid for. And once you're on it, the whole process becomes easier. So then there's the stage 2 pre-qualification questionnaire. So that's capturing business, technical capability, accreditations, financial and business performance. So some of those questions really are pass-fail, and they are requirements to work on a nuclear licensed site. So there's things like ISO accreditation for environmental management systems and quality management systems, which might be a higher level of requirement than a supplier might have to work even in the public sector. So you do need to really understand that if you are bidding direct for Sizewell works, that there are accreditations which are mandatory. So pre-qualification questionnaire would go out for between about 10 and 20 days, and that would go through a portal called iValuer, which enables Sizewell itself to then get the bids and get responses to the PQQ and evaluate those. The pre-qualification, then all the suppliers who pass the pre-qualification may then be invited to the tender, or only a certain amount of suppliers might be taken through, but that would be against objective criteria and the scores as were detailed in the PQQ. The stage 3, the tendering stage, the invitation to tender. At that point, there'll be a clear scope. All of Sizewell's requirements would be detailed, all the processes which would have to be followed, and then bids will be evaluated against a range of criteria, including most economically advantageous tender. I'll just give an example. Often the criteria might be 40% on price and 60% on technical, including ESG. And that is to make sure that lowest price doesn't win. Might be often questions related to methodology, so meeting the program's more important sometimes to clients than lowest cost. And then the environmental and social governance, ESG. In other bits of government, it's called social value. Often Sizewell's tenders have 20%. So weighting is given to local supply chains. And so what that hopefully drives is that the main contractors, even if they're bidding and they're national firms, will subcontract then to local companies work and show that in the tender responses. So again, that's using iValuer, and that's a portal where once you've registered once and used the system, you've got that there. iValuer, when it says it closes at Friday at 12, it closes at Friday at 12. And so it's worth starting to upload documents 24 hours before so that it's all registered, because if there's no power an hour before, it causes complications. And then finally, there's the contract award stage. And really, there should be no surprises. All the tender queries through the tender process would then get engrossed into the contract. The contract value will be finalised, and then Sizewell uses an SAP system to supplement the contract with a purchase requisition. From my Sellafield experience, I often know that suppliers who are new to bigger contracts and working direct with clients like Sizewell aren't used to NEC forms of contract. Sizewell uses NEC-free forms, and if you are looking to bid, then I think it's worthwhile understanding what that entails. It looks quite an onerous form of contract, but by using the CMAR system, the contract management tool, it actually enables a good route for communications between the supplier and the client. And for example, project managers have only defined periods in which they have to respond to changes and payments, and that all streamlines the process. So as well as CMAR and the contract award, there's a team center where documents are stored and passed each way. And then there's HICS, EDF's vendor management system for payments to be made. So I think that often the process looks daunting. I would advise always to read the questions. If it's asked for 3 examples in the prequel, then it'll be scored on 3 examples, and it's very much an exam paper. That the people doing the evaluations don't know the companies. They are reading what's been put on, not any prior knowledge of what's been done before. If you do it and aren't successful, it's worth then reflecting on how the answers were and getting feedback to make sure that the next application tender process is easier. And I think that as I said, it is quite onerous as a process, but the information you put on for one is often then the same information identical for another. And if you've got the same person who's doing it, it does become easier. Ashley, I think that's covered my section.
Excellent, Andrew. Really appreciate that. Thank you ever so much.
Thank you.
And the reason we wanted to make sure that that was covered is because we again, feedback we're getting is that some businesses are successful at expression of interest stage, brilliant, and they get to that PQQ stage, and then they get often a random email from someone they've never spoken to before at Sizewell, telling them to register on this portal called iValuer, and we've had some people think that it's spam and ignore it. And others just not, believe it, etc., and come to us. So it's important, at least if everyone understands that process, understands the timeline of these things, because they do take some time. It's a key. So key actions to take for businesses today sounds obvious, but check your spam folders. CompeteFor, iValuer, HICS, Sizewell C, these things, make sure they do not get picked up by your spam folders, because we would hate for businesses to miss out based on that reason. Yes, Sizewell are always happy to listen and will listen, but what we need to ensure is that businesses are in the best place possible. So let's have a little look in advance and make sure that that's sorted. Also, when we talked about the ESG aims earlier, certain ESG aims will be more relevant than others throughout these processes, particularly as you get to the tender stage. They may well set some of the weighting for social value on particular parts of those 5 areas. And so again, it's vitally important that you're able to look at all aspects of the questions that are answered, but particularly focus on those ones that are going to be scoring, that are going to be where you're going to be marked against. And then in the future, should you be successful, targeted and incentivized against. And I think Andrew just touched on the fact that, everything is scored. again, our feedback so far, particularly on CompeteFor, but also on the PQQ, is that most businesses are scoring incredibly high. And that's because those first two stages are more about your business than actually what it is you're going to be delivering. So it is important to make sure that you sell yourselves in the best way. And again, I'll link back to last week's webinar for some best practice guidance on this, because we did have an example recently where more than a dozen businesses all scored like 116 out of 120 at the CompeteFor market engagement stage, because they're able to answer all the questions absolutely perfectly, because it was just very basic information. So where it's important is then being able to evidence through case studies in particular, those examples where you've done this type of work. That's important. And the final thing I'll say is when you hit PQQ and beyond stage, you'll then start to have that direct engagement with the likes of Andrew or other members of the commercial team at Sizewell. So make sure you're talking to them. If you've got questions or queries, raise them. You raise them through iValue, through as concerns, as worries, or as questions. So make sure you're doing this. That portal is used for that reason, because then also if it's relevant, if it's a relevant question for all of the respondees, it'll then be posted live. So someone else might ask a question that you've been thinking about, but then you'll get the answer because it'll be hosted on the portal and added as an addition. So it is important. It's a two-way process, the procurement. Yes, Sizewell are a beast. They are massive. The Alliance are the big organizations, but it is there for that conversation. Right. So with that done, I will now go into the questions. Now, I see we've got a couple of questions in there. Please continue to add questions, because we want to hear from you as much as possible. So as we answer a few of them, then hopefully some more will appear. Now there is I think a couple actually in the chat box as well. So we've got on here, if a company has been selected to go through to the ITT stage, do we get to know our scoring in the PQQ to assist with improving the ITT response? So Andrew?
I think a standard no, but it's something that people should request. But it's not part of the standard process to know, and people might have got it might be assessed in different ways, but I've certainly in public sector been asked to give reviews of PQQs and even ITTs when suppliers have won the work, because they want to know how they scored well and how they could do better next time. And I hope you don't mind actually, but a thought came into me when I was listening to some of the comments. There will be times when people don't get through PQQs, and it might be because of turnover thresholds. But I have seen examples where suppliers with turnovers of £1 million and less have bid for contracts where the turnover is over 10 million. And it's understanding that doesn't always filter out when people look at opportunities, because it's not perceived rightly or wrongly to give a contract to a supplier who turns over £1 million a year, a £10 million contract. And I've seen lots of frustrations in tender processes where people haven't really understood the full scale of the opportunity. And while they might want to be a subcontractor to the main contractor, I've seen some frustrations there.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Andrew. And that's a point that's well made. And go back to what I said earlier about kind of proportionate sustainable growth that we want to see as a chamber. It is about picking the right fight. That £1 million turnover business might be able to deliver aspects of that £10 million contract, but it's exactly that aspects. And I think fitting in as a tier 2, if that's their area of specialism, is where they would want to aim. The project can't put itself at risk, first and foremost, because if you do get a business on site and they take on too much and they fail, that causes huge delays. And it's not just delays to that individual part. What you've got to bear in mind with Sizewell is it's multiple small, well, it's hundreds of small construction sites inside one large one. So one little impact on one does roll off onto multiple others. But again, we will help support you in understanding that, in helping you introduce to the right people. And we will ensure that feedback happens as well. So again, reference there, but we're just working with Sizewell at the moment on the process for this, but part of our role is also to feedback when you've not been successful, or why you've not been successful. Now, sometimes that can't happen until procurement has happened, because you take, for example, I don't know, let's say they're buying some tables, and they put out the opportunity and 10 companies respond, and 4 get took to the next stage, and the 6 that were unsuccessful are given complete feedback as to why they weren't successful. Well, that information could then get to that final 4, which could give them an unfair advantage, especially if it doesn't go to all 4. So sometimes the feedback on why you've not been successful may not be until after it's been awarded that contract. But that's something that we will be part of, working alongside the teams at Sizewell and also the tier ones, because it's all about then giving you that advice you need so that the next time you have more opportunity to be successful. Or potentially those other packages, those other projects that are happening in the region, not just Sizewell, you've also got a good opportunity to win those as well. Right, so for CompeteFor and registered generic email address, can any person within the company have an authenticator code to access that CompeteFor for generic email account? I think the answer will be in the FAQs. Honest answer, I don't know, Andrew. So I don't know if maybe Fabian knows. If not, it's something we can take away and find out.
We'll take away. No, I don't know. I will think yes, like you, but I will ask this question to BIP.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you, Fabian. So we'll come back on that one, Andrew, and we'll feed that back in. So yeah, we'll come back onto that one. Final one in the chat, just as a little reminder, if possible, try and make sure questions go in the Q&A, just easy to manage. Many of the expression of interest opportunities are both for design and supply installation. Should we wish to only be taken forward for one element of this, is this best to identify at PQQ or expression of interest stage? I'll let Andrew probably come in as well, and maybe Carly potentially. But I think that from our perspective, by the time it gets to CompeteFor, the project has determined its optimum way it wishes to procure. Now, that doesn't mean a non-compliant bid can't be submitted, but that would be at ITT stage. Certainly, I would suggest, unless I'm wrong, Andrew, at PQQ, you could at least have that conversation, because chances are expression of interest you'd get through if you're a business that could do part of it, and maybe be considered subcontracting. But yeah, Andrew, have you got anything you want to add?
I'd always be quite perhaps harsh, but if a requirement is for design and build, then there's design and build suppliers out there which hopefully should have been checked before the procurement process started, then it's unlikely that the strategy would be changed, because an internal strategy would be signed off to do all elements of the work, and a procurement process then often has to restart if there's different elements to be done. And I think that Sizewell's supply chain for design is quite established. There's frameworks there which are being used, and I don't want to be as blunt as to say what's tended, what the packaging is doesn't change, but there's very few examples, I think, where suppliers have gone through where they can't do everything else. They might respond to a PQQ and only be able to do elements of it, but really for the ITT, they should be looking at joint ventures with others to deliver the work.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you, Andrew. And then if I go to the Q&A, I see a number have been answered. So fantastic for the team who have obviously been answering in the background. What influence does Sizewell C have on tier 2, 3, or 4 selection of suppliers? I think, Ian, realistically, that depends on the package. So I think Andrew did touch on it earlier, and I can say with complete clarity, if a business is awarded a contract as a tier 1, whether they be a local or regional or a national or an international, the ESG commitments are clear. And this is one of the areas where they're not just replicating Hinckley, they're improving and bolstering it. So if a business, what's about to be awarded soon, so let's say Link Road, right? So the Sizewell Link Road will soon be awarded. It's in the final throes of the ITT process. That tier 1 contractor who wins that, which will be a large scale civil engineering company, because it's 7 kilometers of road, it's not a small package of work by any stretch of the imagination. They will have to evidence through the ITT process how they are going to engage their subcontracting in their tier 2 supply chain, and how they are going to prioritize local first, then regional, then national. And then Sizewell will put that into their contract. What they'll also, though, do through the process is work with us. So if, let's say, a business, so let's say yourself, Ian, at IQ Workspace, let's say there's a big package of work that you bid for, and you say, as part of that, I think 50% of my tier 2 supply chain in these areas will be local and regional. Through the scoring and then the subsequent submission review, the project or the procurement leads will come to us and ask for an idea on what the capability and capacity of the supply chain in those areas of which you've said that you will subcontract. And if we go back with that and say, well, actually, there's every chance that all of that could be delivered by local based on size of contract, scale, etc., then they may well go, the client itself, Sizewell, or the tier 1 contractor may go back to that company and say, listen, thank you very much, good bid, but 50% is a bit low. We want more than that. We think there is reasonable opportunity that it can be 70%, 80%, and there'll be that conversation. So they can't force, obviously, anyone to use anyone locally, but it will be in contracts. It will be targeted. There will be KPIs against it. And if you're a business, you will have to deliver ESG. The easiest way to, as I said right at the start, the easiest way to deliver ESG on this project is to use local firms, because you tick multiple boxes by doing it. Equally then, those tier 2 suppliers working with us to identify tier 3, and so on and so forth. And we say this with local businesses as well. Our key role is to get local businesses, ideally as the tier 1, or if not the tier 2 contractors. But then we want to ensure that local businesses don't start bringing in trades from across the country after we've worked so hard to get a local promoted. So it is important the whole system works closely together. But the key with that, Ian, is going to be through that ITT bid and through the submissions that are put in on the percentage expected of local and regional supply chain. Right. Any other questions that people would like to put in, please feel free. If not, as always, that's normally a good sign that there's loads of good stuff that's been spoken about. I'll do a couple more slides. If anyone does have any questions they suddenly wish to put in, then please do. We can always go back to them, not an issue at all. So just a couple of final bits. First of all, the slide's gone. There is also, before I touch on our portal, we have got referencing the fact that we talked a lot today about procurement, and on Thursday last week we did our bid writing one, and apologies that the slide's not on here. We have also got some bid writing courses and some tendering courses coming up as a chamber. They're in late October. They're on the website, so you can see them. And the reason, obviously, we've created them as a chamber and we're now promoting them as businesses as something you might want to sign up to, is because that is some of the feedback we've been getting from both the client themselves, that we have lots of really good businesses locally that can say some lovely things, but are not used to bidding for work on a nationally significant infrastructure project. They're used to bidding for small public sector contracts. They're used for bidding for little bits and pieces, grants and stuff, not for large projects like this. And it is a different beast. So, but what we've also had is local businesses coming to us saying we need support. We need to understand how we bid for stuff more productively and more successfully. So, of course, that's why we did the webinar last week for some best practice guidance, but also the training course that's available. There's a charge to businesses. But again, referencing what we said earlier, you can get up to 40% match funding for that. So actually, you're paying for half of a course that's a full day course, run by the chamber alongside some experts externally to help businesses practice and get used to writing bids. So we'll share the links when we send the information out from today. Apologies that it's not on the slide, but it is still well worth setting up. They were only meant to do a couple in the spring. They were that popular. They've run a few more through the summer, and we're going to do more in the future as well. But yeah, we will share those links with you all. So just as a quick final recap and reminder, we've got our portals. Make sure you're signed up, make sure you are registered, make sure your information is as up to date as it possibly can. Stay engaged with our team, stay engaged on both portals with the information that's on there, because that is the best way. We will keep feeding the information to you as much as we possibly can. But then if you're also doing it, it then makes sure that we're not going to miss those opportunities. And CompeteFor it is that place where all of the opportunities will be there for you to express the interest in. So make sure we'll send the links out as well to some of the videos and the guides and so on, so that you've got them. But as I say, they're on the website as well. And it's vitally important. Familiarize yourselves and get used to how CompeteFor works. We'll also send out these, which plus it gives those links, but also links to the Sizewell C DCO. It is a beast of a document, 50,000 odd pages. You don't have to read every single one, but certainly as now packages of works are beginning to happen, if you want to understand a bit more information even to do with the design, the question was asked earlier, and the reasons they're doing certain pieces of work, some things about the amount of people and accommodation and so on, then you can always click on the Sizewell DCO link and have a little look and search for documents and words and so on. So I think with no further questions, we are pretty much done. As always, these events are done because you need them. You keep feeding back to us what it is you want. So what else do you need? We have a number of in-person events coming up, very much focused on certain specific areas, and a number of virtual ones as well. If you're not invited, it's not because we're ignoring you or we don't want to hear from you. It's because you're not relevant to that subject matter. So please be rest assured, we are not an organization that is hiding anything from the supply chain. As soon as we know, we want to tell you. As soon as we can give you the information you need, we will share it with you. But importantly, we want to hear from you. So is there events you need us to speak at? Is there events you want us to turn up to? Is there events that you want us to host a webinar like this on a certain area of the project of working on NSIPs, whatever it is? Feed into the team. You'll be able to feed that back also through the survey you'll be sent after this webinar. And we will always do our best to accommodate and put on the right webinars to support the right businesses at the right time. But yeah, without further ado, I think that is pretty much it. So I will say thank you very much to everyone. I hope you all have a smashing day and look forward to catching up very soon. Thank you.